Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. In the comics, TV, and movies, we go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance,
A
assemble.
symbol.
Volume 287. We were off last week. We're back this week with a fun little kind of main story, kind of a spin on from a couple of weeks ago. And Sony is trying to make a comeback. Do we believe it? I don't know. We're gonna delve into all that tonight, and but we're happy to be back. David, how are you doing?
I am here. It's been a busy week. I have spent some time with family. I was out for bereavement, and then today's first day back to work. So I'm hitting the ground running on getting readjusted to life and my normal routine again.
Yeah, this is the last full week before break for me. I have next week is a 3.5 day week. We've got a full day off on. We got a work day on Tuesday and then a half day on the Friday. So it's just like we can push through. It's pretty weird just saying we've got 3 quarters in the books for this school year, and then we got last quarter ready to go into the history book. So it's weird to say it's gone quick. At times it hasn't felt like it.
Yeah, it's weird how the school year rolls, and next thing you know, you're looking up. It's the end of February, and you're like, oh wow, we have moved quite a few.
And as you said, weather around here, it's 70 degrees where you are, and it's about to snow next week. Me, it's the opposite. It's getting ready to become 70 degrees, and we're hopefully saying goodbye to winter forever, at least
Yeah,
for this year.
make up your mind, nature. Make up your mind.
Exactly. It's weather by Sybil. It's freaking weird. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna have some fun tonight, and with our kind of an interesting list we're gonna put together for you all. But before we get into that, we're gonna get rid of and do these network plugs out of the way. So we're part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 6 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GWay Pod Network, so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. Our dollar tiers are tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows. We've got a couple of shows from Marvel Alliance in the back catalog there for the patrons. We can watch this all day. The Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga MCU rewatch, Tales from the House of X, where we rewatched our favorite films from the Fox era of X-Men, and then the Baxter broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film reviews. DC Alliance guys have got DC films through the years, and Joe has got his Multiverse Minutes Disney Dies, where he is looking at going in chronological order, breaking down the Disney animated classics in chronological order on the 1st and 15th of each month. And a lot of back content out there, but we want to thank our patrons. We cannot do this without your support. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, please, and you're interested in joining, go to www.patreon.com/GUA Network so you get all that great content that we have. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, but want to still help us out, well, then you can go and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com, for your omnibus hardcover collect edition needs. JP and the crew at PBC have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. Earn rewards to get discounts on all books. This is hot off the press. Less than 24 hours ago, Jake has updated all the final order cutoffs for the newest round of pre-orders. We've got Daredevil Omnibus Volume 4, first time in print. We've got Way of X Omnibus, part of the Krakoa era, a.k.a. the Nightcrawler saga in the Krakoa era. Coming back in the print after many, many years, X-Men Legacy Legion Omnibus. We've got Spider-Man by Chip Zdarsky coming back for a reprint. This is one, not Marvel, but I'm excited. It's definitely on my pre-order list. Transformers, the Movie Deluxe Edition. Look at that Sean Gordon Murphy cover. Just look at that.
Beautiful.
Gordon. It is absolutely beautiful. But if you want to get some discounts on any of these books, you can use 2 different codes we have. We have Marvel. You can use Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. Or you can use our other code MGUA Sit and get 5% off if you order 4 or more books together. It lets them know you're a listener. We want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right. So let us put everything out. Anything else to go over? Nope. All right. So main topic before we get into Sony trying to come back from the dead with their Spider-Man universe. That's going to be more of a what things that weren't on my bingo card for news stories for this year. But we decided, and this is kind of spun out on when Travis did his. A few weeks back we did our must-see projects in total for the MCU before Doomsday. Well, Travis did his the day before we did it on Marvel Alliance on As Travis Told You, and one of his listeners live asked him what are his must-see projects from the Multiverse Saga, so confining it even closer. And Travis had to spitball it, didn't have any time to really think, but like kind of looked through the list and gave his thoughts. So I thought, hey, let's confine this to do the same thing. What are our 10 must projects from the Multiverse Saga before you see Avengers Doomsday from Phase 4, 5, and what has become the little that has become Phase 6. So what we're going to do is I've put this in our show notes, and we're going to come up with our agreed list. We're going to go through what we're going to do first, David, is we're going to go through Phase 4, 5, and 6 and just first eliminate projects as we go through. So I'm going to, as I go through the list, we're just going to say, we're going to see exactly if we want to keep it, and we'll see what we can quickly whittle down by just eliminating things like we know, no, it's not making our cut. It's not even worth a conversation. And it's not because, it will be very clear, I think David and I have gone on record that there may be a few that are just like, yeah, this was never a good thing. This is, no. But mostly we have found good in pretty much most of these projects. It's just, it's not one that you're going to have to see,
Yeah. Spoiler alert. I Am Groot season 1 is not going to make the cut. I'm sorry if that's the highest of your Marvel ranking, but it's not for this list. It's not going to make the cut.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting ones, and some of them, if you've listened to this show since the beginning, you know our feelings. But again, with the exception of a few, most of these we have on some rankings. But again, we're trying to figure out if you want to go back and rewatch, or you just say I want to see what exactly. We're gonna see exactly what do you need to watch before Doomsday. What are the must-sees? So, I think we're gonna keep, and as we go deeper into this, we'll probably do more in depth. But as we go through this, we're just gonna do quick hits, focusing on. I think we're keeping WandaVision, right?
Yes.
So we're starting with Phase 4. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm a maybe.
I think that's a hit or miss, maybe.
Yeah, that's a maybe. Loki season 1. I think that's a definite.
That is a yes.
I'm coming up on possibly our first cut, Black Widow.
That's a bye-bye.
Okay. Again, nothing for quality. It is more of just like must see at that point.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find a strike through. So we're gonna eliminate that. All right. What if season 1? Maybe.
It's a maybe.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it right now. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I personally think that one can be struck out as much as I absolutely adore that movie. I just watched it again last week, but I think that for this it can be struck out.
I'm gonna pull a maybe on it. I'm gonna say we're gonna do a maybe on this for one. So we're not agreed on this. We'll come back to it as we start whittling down the list. I think this is the next one we can agree upon. Eternals.
Bye.
Hawkeye.
I think Hawkeye can get, for this list, Hawkeye can get cut.
Yep. Fun show. Highly recommend seeing it, but it is not a must-watch. Spider-Man No Way Home. I think we can cut that. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, I think we're. I'm wearing the three Peters on the shirt. I think we can cut that. Should have gotten that a little longer.
Yeah. That one right now is definitely in the maybe list.
Yep. Moon Knight.
I think Moon Knight can get cut. As much as I liked Oscar Isaacs in this, I don't see where it fits.
Yep. and just seeing exactly. I want to see the character come back, but it is not something I say is must see for this.
Yep.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, we're dealing with the Multiverse Saga. Let's just get rid of the
Well,
Multiverse of Madness. Who needs it at that point? I mean, come on. Just a bunch of a movie just full of cameos. Who wants it? Who needs it? I mean, it's not like they're going to do that again. Oh, I'm sorry. They are.
yeah, I see nothing about this that can contribute to a multiversal saga and what can be happening coming up next. But no, in all sincerity, this one is probably a put a pin in it stays.
Yeah. That's all right. I have neglected the chat. I see Bears Layers in there. Hello, guys. Just finished up the homework. That went quick. Holy smokes. Yeah, and we get another one in the chat talking about what's going on with Warner Brothers and Paramount. Yeah, we'll just have to keep our opinions to ourselves right now. We're not happy. To
Yeah,
say that.
it's
All right, Miss Marvel. I enjoy it, but I love Amon Vellani, but I don't think it's necessary for this one.
I would agree. Again, Amon Vellani is one of the best things as a person that has happened to the MCU. Like
And as
protect
her
her at all,
Great
protect her at all costs. She made that character more than what I could have imagined it could be on the screen. I absolutely love her, love the character, but yeah, not for this.
All right. Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm also a cut on this one, not just because of all the it's fun to hate on this movie. No, I just don't. And people say, well, what about love and things like that? I don't know. I don't. I don't know.
It is a very low maybe for me, and I would be okay with it being cut.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it right now. I think that in the long scheme of things, I think we can find higher quality projects that were better. You know.
Yep.
So, all right, I Am Groot. We've already kind of said fun, but no. I think the same thing with She-Hulk.
I mean,
You go back to our reviews. I adore this show. I think this show was a lot of fun. I love how some people really hate on it, feel attacked by it at that point. No, you're missing the whole point of the show. And I'm a huge fan of Tatiana Maslany. I think she did an amazing job with the character. Love that it brought back Daredevil, but there was so much more to that show than just that one or two episodes with Charlie Cox returning. I think it's a great show, but as a must-watch for the Multiverse Saga, I don't think so.
I mean, unless they're bringing back Luke Jacobson, who was just one of my favorite side characters in that, the Taylor, then yeah, no, this can be cut.
Mm-hmm. All right, Werewolf by Night, amazing, love it around Halloween. I don't think it's necessary.
Nope. Again, amazing, especially in black and white. Please do not disregard watching this in black and white. It should be viewed as such, and it is an amazing viewing as such. But yeah, it does not fit for this.
Mm-hmm. All right, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm a keep for this.
I am a keep as well, especially after the trailer that we saw and how heavily that they are featured.
Well, I mean, someone would argue, well, you saw a whole Thor trailer with love in it. Why didn't we keep that? You know?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between the, hey, I have something to protect versus the actual intermingling of the Talokans, the Wakandans, and the Fantastic Four. There's a huge difference there. Again, no hate to the character of Love, no hate to Thor, but there's a huge difference in, okay, Thor has something more that he wants to protect versus these are going to be central figures.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say to that thing, the whole thing of Thor kind of the whole thing with Thor getting together with Love as, father-daughter kind of thing, that is more of kind of an end of the movie thing. It was not necessarily I was expecting it, but I don't think it's necessary to watch that whole movie just to get to that one part. I think that could be very much an explained part that you can get in the movie. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special to close out Phase 4. Again, great around the holidays, a lot of fun. I don't need it for this.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So, I say we just move on to phase 5, eliminate that, and then see where we're at. How's that? And see if we need
Yep.
to start making some hard pitches to each other. All right. Starting off phase 5, and this is what people may signal that saying this is where we started the crack started forming on the MCU. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
That
What could have been?
Yes, had you asked me a couple of years ago if when it first debuted if this was essential viewing for what is coming up, absolutely, but with everything that has changed and is changing, I think this no longer holds a place in the I need to have this for the future.
Yeah. All right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is a hard one for me. I'm not sure yet, and I kind of want to leave it right now just to see where we're at. I'm leaning towards, when we look at the rest of the list, this might be an eventual cut, but I personally want to keep it right now just to see where we're at.
It is a low maybe for me. There are parts of it that I wonder, okay, are they going to come back? How are they going to come back? Again, great movie. I love the movie. Got the rocket story. I mean, it pulls at your heartstrings, but it is a very low maybe for me.
And we haven't heard where Peter comes back into this or thing. I mean, again, we've only seen so much, and we know that Peter's coming back, but we don't know if the Guardians are coming back. We don't know where they fit into this. This may be a list we have to revisit maybe after, Doomsday to see how, what was essential viewing. So I'd say we just keep it right now. It may eventually get up. I don't think it's keeping away from anything. There's no harm in keeping it right now. Secret Invasion. Go back if you want to see the
best of the best.
You want to see I've said this before. One of the hardest things to review in Marvel Alliance history was that final episode. Laughs, tears, and what did we just see moments in Marvel Alliance history? Go back to that episode. I'm sure David can find it very quickly of what episode that was. If you need a good laugh, you need to cry a little bit for Brent and I when we did that one. Man, that was rough. I say we put it out of its misery.
I can agree to that.
I am Groot season 2. If you didn't want season 1, well, I think we should keep season 2. Nah, we can get rid of that. I don't think there's much debate on that.
I mean, again, it's essential viewing.
Mm-hmm. All right, the Loki season 2. I think that's a surefire thing, especially with where it ends up. I I almost want to say Loki the series we can count that as one if we get into trouble and are debating between keeping one. How about that?
I would agree.
All right, the Marvels. That's an interesting one because I think that also gets into a Thor Love and Thunder territory. As do we take what happens towards the end of the movie as essential viewing?
Yeah. It's a cut for me. I think it has parts that can tie in, but it doesn't
Yeah.
to me scream you need this in your life.
Yeah. Again, the last couple of minutes of the movie and the end credits, it's not enough for me. So,
Yeah.
All right. What if season 2? Which I think was the superior one of as a whole season. I thought that was better than I think Loki. What if season 1 episodes were great, not as a whole. It was okay. I think season 2 was better. I don't know.
It is also it's a low maybe for me, but it's one of those where like if it.
I think if we, how about this? I think at the end, just having one season is enough for this list. And if I were to pick a season, I'd pick season 1. Even despite what I said, I think season 2 as a whole is better put together. I think season 1 sets you up better for the concept of what could be going on with Doomsday and Secret Wars.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll cut out season 2. Echo, I think that's a cut.
That's definitely a cut.
Deadpool and Wolverine, I think that's a keep right now.
That is a keep, and that will be around till it's 90.
Agatha All Along.
I'm sorry, Catherine Hahn, as amazing as you are, I think this is a cut.
Yeah, very surprised how much I did enjoy this. I wasn't going in with, I don't know who asked for this. I was more curious to see how well they did, and they did a good job with it. But yeah, I think it's missing a few elements to kind of keep it around. I agree, Agatha. I'm out. I think What If season 3 is out because that definitely was the low level of that series. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, X-Men 97. I forgot to put X-Men 97 on here. I think either one of those I don't think are necessary for it right now. I think X-Men 97 just is the X-Men concept, but I don't think you need to watch X-Men 97 just to be part of Doomsday, you know?
Yeah.
Captain America Brave New World.
This is one that I am a maybe on because I feel like going into the next stage of the Avengers, the actual Avengers, plus seeing where Cap and seeing where Falcon, who are going to be in these next movies, how they got to where they are, does to me scream, all right, you need to see this. And this is one of those, unlike previous ones where like, it's an amazing movie, but it doesn't fit here. This is a mediocre movie, but does play into essential viewing.
Yeah, I think despite I think my biggest issue was the whole Sidewinder and the Serpent Society and things like that. That just didn't land. I think there's a lot playing into this that's going to be possibly revisited in different ways. I'll keep it as a maybe for right now for me. Daredevil Born Again, Season 1. I'm a maybe for this.
I could see surprises being made that makes this something that needs to be viewed. So yeah, I would go and put it as a maybe.
Yeah. Thunderbolts. I'm a definite yes on that. There's no
that's
yep. Sticking around.
Because you need the Avengers with a Z, so it's different.
Yeah. All right, Ironheart. I hate to say that's a cut.
Yep, that is definitely a cut.
All right, so we are now into 3 projects within Phase 6. We have Fantastic Four, Eyes of Wakanda, and Marvel Zombies. I think Fantastic Four is safe right now. Eyes of Wakanda, I say, is a cut.
Yep.
Marvel Zombies, God, it was really, really good, but I don't know. I'm a maybe on it. I don't think it's going to make it. I'm good keeping it right now, though.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of Phase 4, we have WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki Season 1, What If Season 1, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So we've got 8 projects there from Phase 4. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 from Phase 5, Loki Season 2, and I think we're just going to say Loki, just the series itself at this point.
Yep.
Daredevil, Wolverine, Captain America, Brave New World, Daredevil, Born Again, Season 1, Thunderbolts. So we have 6 projects in Phase 5 and 2 projects in Phase 6, Fantastic Four First Steps, and Marvel Zombies. So trying to whittle this down to 10. So we are over by about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to eliminate 6.
Yep.
So all right.
Well, let's first for numbering combine
Loki,
and we're just gonna straight up Loki. So that puts us down. Let's see, 8, 5, 13, 14, 15. So we're at 15 right now. We need to cut out 5.
All right. I think we can cut out Marvel Zombies.
Yep.
I think in looking at where we're at right now, I think if we're trying to get prepared for Doomsday, do that. All right, so we're down to 14. All right. I think this is where it gets tough, just because it's hard separating what I love versus do you need to watch it. And I think we kind of said it. I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we're not nothing's being built up for the Guardians in Doomsday. You
Right.
know? At least from what
Yeah.
we've seen right now. We're going off of what we know and what we've seen. I have heard very little of Guardians being a central part of Doomsday, you know?
Yeah. We haven't had any they will return
Well,
in this.
outside of Peter.
We haven't had any major announcements about the Guardians, so I would say that it is okay to just count them as a no.
Yeah. Detoll, does Brand New Day count? Well, we're just going off of right now. It's going yes, but we haven't seen it, and I'm assuming yes, but we're just going off of the release project. But good question, Detoll. It would probably make the list, and so we probably have to keep this in mind and revisit this once we see it at that point and see if there may be another project bumped off. So we'll keep that in mind, Detoll. Thank you for asking that. All right, so Guardians Volume 3 is out. So we have now 3 more projects to eliminate. All right. Well, here's an interesting thing. So we have Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America, Brave New World.
I was just thinking that you could do one or the other because all the major 3 characters are tackled in both. You get to know a lot. You get Falcon in there. You get our new Cap in there at the end of it. You get the Winter Soldier. So yes, they have grown up by the time you see Captain America Brave New World, but I think you get more of a feel of who they are as people and who they are as characters by Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That argument can be made.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm trying to the better project is Falcon and Winter Soldier. The better project is Falcon and Winter Soldier, but what does it set? Can you still get enough of that in Brave New World? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's come back to that one. I'm not there yet. Let's see. I think Wanda's definitely safe. I think Loki's safe. I'm gonna bold these so that way we know which. Let's look at the ones who are just ultimately safe, you know, and see where we're at. No Way Home is safe.
Doctor Strange is safe.
I think Black Panther is safe. Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, are safe. Thunderbolts is safe.
And Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. So we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we've got to select. Okay, so let's think about this. That's what's being eliminating. Let's see if we want to make a case. We've got to make a case for starting with one of these. Even though it pains me to say it, if we're gonna say like I don't know where it fits right now, Daredevil Born Again, I don't know if it's necessary yet. You know?
I'd agree. We've got season 2 coming out in March. And we don't know what the fallout of that's going to be, how well this fits. But right now, it's a wishful thought, not a guarantee. So I think that is a case against it.
Yeah. So that could be on the chopping block. I would like to make a case saying that Shang-Chi I have a tough time with, because I can see arguments on both sides, you know?
Yes. Simu was a part of the chairs, so we
Mhm.
do know that he is going to be returning in this. Um, Again, going back to our case against Daredevil, I mean that wasn't a part of the chairs where Shang-Chi was a part of the chair, so it's guaranteed we are getting this character again.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much that's going to flow into it.
Yeah. So let's eliminate Daredevil Born Again right now. And Shang-Chi is kind of on teetering on the edge right now. All right. Do you think, let's go back to What If. Do you think What If, how necessary do you think What If is? You know, could you figure out what's going on without it right now? I think you can.
I think that you can figure out what's going based upon what we have right now, just off of the 8 that we have bolded
Yep.
right now. I think that you can figure out what's going on without What If.
Okay, so there's What If is gone now. And so what we have left to be debated is Falcon and Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi, Legend of Ten Rings, and Brave New World. Only one of them can stay. Which one has the strongest case to stay?
Um, well, let's see. We have 8 bold right now, so we need to pick 2
Oh, two.
out
Sorry,
of the
I can't.
2
I
out
can't
of the
count. I can't
3.
count.
So I think it's more so between Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Captain America, which one is less needed.
Mm-hmm. You know, you get a lot of, like I said, you get amazing character development. We've been over this because it made my list of projects you just have to see where the MCU is. Um, you get the acceptance of Sam taking on the mantle, doing what he needs to do at that point. Yes, you get a lot of growth, but I hate to say it, I think Captain America Brave New World sets up the world that we're in right then at that point.
You get more of Torres as the Falcon. You get them
Well,
talking.
That's not huge for me, but you're not wrong.
But you get talk of setting up a new Avengers with this group of people. So it does lead more towards if you're going to have a new version of that. And as Bearsler put in the chat, it also has the mentions of adamantium.
Yeah. I think that one, again, it pains me just because I am a huge proponent of Falcon and Winter Soldier, as I know you are, David, but I think that one is gonna have to go.
Yep.
So,
And then I
yeah,
think that puts us at 10.
all right. So, why don't you let's review our list at this point. So go on and tell what the listeners here. David will read off exactly what our 10, according to both of us, what our 10 choices are.
All right, starting with phase 4, we've got WandaVision, Loki, and this includes both seasons of Loki. We're grouping it together. So Loki, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Deadpool and Wolverine starting in phase 5, Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts asterisk, and then in phase 6, Fantastic Four First Steps.
And I think one of the things that, yes, we're kind of cheating with Loki, but I think that I think it's necessary. I think you can watch season 1 fine, but I think it leaves it on such a cliffhanger. Forget the whole Kang thing. I think it leaves it enough that you're going to want to see the second season because it perfectly sets up season 2. I don't think you could just see season 2 and feel you really get an understanding of the journey that Loki has been on. So yes, we kind of like 10 we'll put 10 with an asterisk as well.
Yes.
And again, this is how we're viewing what it is. As Detail brought up, we haven't seen Brand New Day. We haven't seen season 2 of Daredevil. We haven't seen what the Punisher is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Like we don't know what's necessary, but it could be one of those things. Like the Punisher spotlight movie is gonna be great. But can you get enough of where the character is in Spider-Man: Brand New Day? We've been hearing rumors he's gonna be a little bit different because it's a PG-13 movie. It's gonna be the kids like to say nerfed, but it is what it is. Um, I I think I like that. It's very interesting. It's very telling because I think this says a lot about what happened with the MCU. Phase 4, I think as a whole, is your strongest phase right now. Like, I mean, look at it. We've got 6 projects out of Phase 4. I think it still had the most when we did our
And
first.
we still had to debate some of those out. So yeah.
Yeah. And with Phase 5, it was severely eliminated, a lot of them very quickly, and all 3 of them are the later films in the phase, And look at it. You got Deadpool and Wolverine. That is basically it's a sequel in nostalgia. Captain America's a sequel. Thunderbolts is the most interesting one just because it is a bunch of C and D and F list characters that, not only is a great story, but also sets up for where we're at in Doomsday. And then, Phase 6, I mean, it just has had 3 projects technically, and the biggest one being Fantastic Four. And I think the biggest reason it's on there is because they're going to play a big part in Doomsday. So,
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, I think that was, it was, I was very curious to see because, I mean, I think we both, when we saw this, is okay. We knew which ones were like must. I think a couple of them that surprised me on here, Shang-Chi surprised me a bit. Brave New World definitely surprised me. I think those are the 2 that surprised me. Any of them surprised you that made the list?
Shang-Chi definitely surprised me. The rest of them, I mean, with the exception of WandaVision, which was an honorable mention, the rest of them are on my list or were an honorable mention of my original list outside of Shang-Chi. So, like, I think that this does definitely coincide with my originals, and yeah, I'm at least excited to have, as shocking as it was to have it on this list, have Shang-Chi come back and see where they go from there. Like when I saw him on the list of chairs, I was like, yes, my man gets to come back. So
yeah,
that does make me happy.
And again, some of these were tough. Daredevil coming off the list, that was tough to strike out. Guardians Volume 3, tough to get it. Great film, but we have nothing to say that either one of those projects is going to be necessary viewing to get for Doomsday,
Yeah.
And some people might argue some of ours, some of these choices at this point. I mean, some of them didn't make our list for must-sees. Fantastic Four didn't make my list for must-sees just because I could say, well, I mean, if I had to pick looking at the entirety of where we are in the MCU, I still stand by. I don't think it's necessary viewing before Doomsday if you're looking at the whole MCU. But this one I thought was interesting to try just because it was the Multiverse Saga. Very telling. Yeah. Phase 4, higher quality projects. Phase 5, very diminishing returns until the very end. And Phase 6 just hasn't had enough time. And I think it's going to be the smallest one because of, how quickly it's going to wrap up by the end of next year.
Yeah. Phase 6 is going to be the smallest, but that is purposeful. They were very intentful with that. Like, look, we're going to release these projects with this end goal in mind. We're not going to oversaturate it. Here you go.
I think that's going to be fascinating just because we only know about Secret Wars. We know nothing else about next year. That's going to be very interesting to see because what does Marvel go that hasn't announced? What are they going to put out besides Secret Wars? I do not think they're just going to wait and just do Secret Wars. I think that would be amazingly brave for them. Do they have to do anything? I don't think they have to do anything, but I'd be very shocked if they just hold their hat on Secret Wars and not do anything before it. I think that would be very surprising to me. I could see a case for it, but I don't buy it because we haven't had anything like that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so. It's going to be very. I'm looking forward to Secret Wars, but I feel like they are purposely being quiet. If there is some stuff that they're planning between that, they're purposely being quiet because of what is going to spin out of Doomsday.
Yep. So, all right. Well, feel free to let us know what you think about that. Send in those questions for us when we come back at that point. But we're going to take our first ad break before we look at Sony. Sony trying to come back from the dead. All right, listeners, we're going to take our first ad break. So these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. It could be a bit loud, so give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, David. First news story for Sony. Broke at the end of last week, I believe. Venom animated movie in the works. So this is coming from The Hollywood Reporter. The studio behind the Marvel anti-hero movies is developing its first animated movie based on the character. They have tapped Zach Lefowski and Adam B. Stein, the duo behind the horror hit Final Destination Bloodlines, is set to direct the project. Amy Pascal, Avi Arad, Matt Tolmach, who have worked on the Venom movies, will also produce the feature. Say what you want about them. It's just, producers just produce. Tom Hardy, who starred in as the titular character of Eddie Brock Venom, is also going to be attached to the project as well as a producer. And Kelly Marcy is the go-to screenwriter for the live-action movies as well as a producer. No writer is attached to the project. Sony Pictures Animation is opening up a writer's room to see what takes that they have. No one has been said that they are jumping on board with that. Remember Venom, the first Venom movie 2018 was actually a very big surprise hit for that year. Let There Be Carnage, followed up with, I'm trying to see. Oh yeah. First Venom movie grossed $856 million worldwide. Let There Be Carnage, the sequel, grossed $506.8 million worldwide. And The Last Dance, I'll miss you, buddy, $478.9 million. So diminishing returns with each one, but no one can say it was not a hit. Because again, it made, as a franchise, it made over $1 billion as a franchise. That is not a a bust.
Yeah, it had its audience. It definitely had its audience.
Yes. Going with the animation route, in theory, allows Sony to keep Venom-related content fresh and relevant. Sony Pictures has found great success and Oscar Gold, with the Spider-Verse movies at this point. It's going to be interesting because we just know that they're, again, just because it's in the works doesn't mean it's going to be happening. It's like everything. How many things are in development that will never see the light of day? This may not see the light of day. It just is like with everything. It is in development. How I feel about this, I like the Venom character. In the comics right now, I'm not necessarily a fan. I don't care, spoiler alert, that it has anything to do with Venom now being attached to Mary Jane. I don't have necessarily a problem with that. I have a problem with the writing. The writing is just not connecting with me as a comic book fan, so I've kind of dropped reading that for a bit. The last time I have really been into Venom was Donny Cates' run. And before that, it was Agent Venom with Rick Remender. And then before that, it was kind of the initial introduction of Venom and stuff like that. But I just wonder, again, has Sony done what they need to do with Spider-Man through the Spider-Verse movies? Yes, great. What kind of animation style with it? I could go with the Spider-Verse animation style. I could do so. I mean, the animation, I am very open to see what kind of styles they want to do with animation. I even heard on, I think they were talking about a Phase Hero today when I was listening to it, even an anime kind of style look at Venom doing with, anime is very big into kind of also using kind of the monster kind of feel and things like that. So I could see and be open to the idea. I'm not a huge fan of anime. It's just not my tempo a lot of times, but I have dabbled enough in it that I'm willing to give it a chance. And even the comics have done kind of manga versions of Venom too. So I'm open to this idea. It just gives me pause to say that, are we doing something fresh, or are we trying to continue to channel what they did with the live action, which really is not what I want to see with Venom. I'm sorry. I mean, they proved that they could do a Venom movie without Spider-Man. I just don't think it landed.
Yeah. Um, I could see them going when it comes to animation. I am an anime fan. I am a huge anime nerd. I mean, there is a One Piece flag behind me right there. There's Goku and some other characters over there. Like if you guys could see what is going on around me, I am definitely an anime fan. I could see a situation where instead of a full on movie, they could maybe do a anthology type series like how they did DC did with Gotham Knight, or there's been some Star Wars did recently where you just have different tellings and different animation styles to get various Venom stories told. I think that would be cool. I do think going the animated route gives you a lot more flexibility with Venom and with the symbiote that doesn't cost you as much money as you would have to do for animating this for the live action. Um, I I'm happy, but not. It wasn't a needed that Tom Hardy is would be doing the voice of this, and so if they were to switch up voices and go a different route, I'm not sitting here like, oh my god, I can't hear anything other than Tom Hardy. This to me is not Mark Hamill doing the Joker, where I don't care who it is, my mind is going to revert to Mark Hamill doing the Joker. Like it doesn't hold that weight for me. So it's fun, but it's not. Oh my, this is exactly what I needed.
And Bears Lair said, "I'll give it a chance, but hope for epic goodness." And that's all we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see if this even comes true. So, all right, our final story tonight, continuing on with Sony. Sony to reboot the Spider-Man universe with quote-unquote new people after several box office flops. So, Sony Pictures chairman and CEO Tom Rothman confirms that the studio is planning a fresh reboot to the Spider-Man extended universe after the franchise string of box office disappointments, aside from the trio of Venom films, which did perform well, as we just went over. Rothman was asked by Matt Belloni on the Town podcast, "Where are we in the Spider-Man franchise? Not the animated Spider-Verse. Is the larger Spider-Verse dead?" Rothman replied, "No." He was asked, "Are you going to go back to those at some point?" Rothman confirmed, "Yes." But it'll be a fresh reboot. Yes. New people? Yes and yes. The executive added that scarcity has value. You've got to make the audience miss you. You've just got to make the audience actually care about what you're putting out, and you have to put out necessarily things that they want to see. I understand what they were trying to do with trying to put out these kind of anti-heroes and things like that, but they just weren't good, And the executive pointed out that the film made $1.9 billion globally, so they're talking about No Way Home at that point. And initially, the report Spider-Man No Way Home was banned in China due to the film's climax taking place at Statue of Liberty, 1.99 globally, which still, he says, ticks him off to have to say that you didn't make two, didn't get China. And, because I know it would have done it. They're not wrong. Needless to say, Rothman did not change the film. Might have been impossible to given the sheer amount of screen time that iconic landmark takes place. So reportedly courted China heavily for Spider-Man No Way Home, even releasing a Chinese poster, but never happened. Rothman was also asked about his relationship with Marvel boss Kevin Feige, and he said, "There are two people about whom I would say this, and maybe more if I think about it. You never bet against James Cameron, and never bet against Kevin Feige." So live action Spider-Man. So let's go over this real quick before we give we kind of opine about this. They launched with Venom. We've already talked about the Venom franchise was a hit. Despite people's misgivings about it, box office wise, hit. Morbius 2022, 162 million globally, died. 2024's Madam Web, $100 million, died. 2024's Kraven the Hunter, $60 million globally against an estimated production of more than $100 million. Those projects bid it and bid it hard.
Yeah, and if you do the math on this, Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven together made less than the worst Venom movie.
Yep. And so, yeah, it's just, I like what he says. You never bet against Kevin Feige. I think the relationship with Marvel Studios and Sony is Sony realizes that they're going to have to lean more into working closer with Marvel to develop some ideas and to take some better direction and kind of say that, hey, maybe we should take some direction with them and create a different kind of partnership. People saying, oh, they should just do Miles as in live action. I really do think, I think the rumors are there's a lot to them, and I'd like to say there's a lot of smoke with this one, that I think the MCU is going to get Miles. Sony is not. And I think the only reason that we've talked about on this show that the reason that Marvel is not jumping into Miles yet is because I think there's an understanding that they won't touch it until the Spider-Verse movies are done. So after that third film, I think all bets are off. I think Miles is going to come to the MCU, and it will not come to the Sony Spider-Man universe.
I definitely agree that this is we will leave him alone for now and let you have that moment, but after that, we're taking the ball and running with it.
And I think I think it's Miles is a top tier character, and he does deserve quality behind it, and I do not trust Sony right now to do well by that character in live action. I think animation, you cannot equate what they've done with live action with Miles of understanding of what they do to that character in live action. I think those are two very different things.
Yeah. And I think, Sony itself it's lost the trust of the general audience. Yes, even within the MCU, characters get changed, they get tweaked a little bit to fit the narrative, to the story, whatever they're trying to do. A lot of these Sony movies, I'm looking back, I'm thinking of Madam Web, I'm thinking of Kraven the Hunter. These are just full scale changes for the sake of changes, and you're slapping the name of the character on there. I will also say this: anyone signing up for these movies, please know that you are joining the Sony universe and not the Marvel universe. Dakota Johnson, I'm talking to you. Know which universe you're joining up for.
Yeah. So again, I'm not necessarily surprised that they're trying to continue on with this. It's just like, when will that happen? I think I know Travis Snell and I have said the same thing with this. The Sonys, those movies, Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven did damage to the Marvel brand because the general audience does not separate the two. You and I, people that are in this kind of industry in the sense of, podcasting and content creation that focus on this, we understand the difference. General audience does it, and those films damage the brand. Yeah. And then Marvel Studios also damaged itself with the projects that they released in churning out project after project and not focusing on the quality versus the quantity. But we've already beat that dead horse for a while, so we're not going to revisit that. But we'll see. So, all right, we're going to take this ad break before we get into the last part of the show. So, as listeners, you know that these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose when ads come on. They can be a bit loud, so give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so I did not see any listener questions tonight, so we will bypass that and go straight into Fact or Fiction. So revisiting Fact or Fictions that you put out there for 2 weeks ago. Number 1, the Osborn family will be mentioned in Spider-Man Noir. 69% said fact. Spider Noir. I got to make sure to get that right. Spider Noir. 69% said fact. 31% said fiction. Thank you, Sony. The Spider, a.k.a. Spider-Man Noir. I'll go with that. will appear again in Beyond the Spider-Verse. 88% said fact, 12% said fiction. I don't know if they really understood that one, David. I tried to be as specific as possible, but I think more people are thinking other things. And we will get another set of Avengers Doomsday teasers before we get an actual Avengers Doomsday trailer. 42% said fact, 58% said fiction. So they're not on board with that one. But
You know what? It's fair. It's fair for that last one.
yep. All right. So mine for this week. Let's see. All right. Number one. We got two brand new day ones, one Doomsday one. This might be this might be a little spoilery. I've seen enough going around, but it also I think there's some precedent for it. Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think Tombstone's we know Tombstone's the bad guy in this one, but I think there's a lot of things pointing to where he's going to be using something to help, using an organization to help him out. And I think that organization is going to be the Hand, which also has Daredevil connections too. I don't think the Hand is going to be in Daredevil season 2. I do think we're going to be bringing the Hand into this, and it would be very cool to see the Hand find this way to some full play, with Shang-Chi and things like that. I think it is a very cool. I think there's a lot of precedent for the Hand in New York. Shadowlands, say what you want about the miniseries itself. I think the Hand itself has that precedent to be used to, by a new kingpin, as it were. And I think Tombstone is going to be the person to do it. I've heard enough there, but I definitely think that there's some smoke in there. What do you think?
I have been seeing what has been popping up and things like that, and it does lead to some credence for that. So I would go ahead and say fact.
That's when Extreme 3D 97 says he has a crazy theory about Spider-Man Brand New Day. I've put in the chat. Go on. We'll see what he or she has. All right, so you're a fact on that one. I'm a fact as well. All right, next one. In Spider-Man Brand New Day, Tombstone will survive and escape being captured at the end of the movie. So we are going to be, kind of going we're not going to go the Homecoming route where survives and is put in jail. We're going that survives and escapes to fight another day. And I think Tombstone is going to be, a part of this next trilogy in some way, shape, or form beyond this movie.
I am going to go fact on that. I'm a little. It's 50-50 because without knowing where, if and what this will spin off into when it comes to Doomsday, and if they want to put a tidy little bow on this before going off on their next route, I can see if they're wanting to put a tidy little bow on it, then yes, he's going to get locked up. Boom, bam, that's the end of it. But I could also see them leaving that shadow of future properties just in case this Sony reboot fails, to still fall back on the well. So I'm gonna go fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fact just because I think the character itself, I have grown to appreciate the character. I think they have done a really good job in the comics rebuilding my kind of interest in Tombstone. I think the potential for Tombstone and Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has done very well. I think, who they got as portraying Tombstone is perfect casting in that thing. I think he is a great actor. I'm looking forward to I hope my faith is going to be I don't worry about my faith not being put in bad hands. I think Tombstone is going to be a great character for this one. And I think there's going to be I think this is not just as just himself. I think that's going to be putting Peter in a very interesting position to face down a villain like this. So
yeah,
if we can't have Kingpin in this, I think Tombstone is a very good substitute for a boss. So, but all right. So Extreme is saying, so what if at the end of Spider-Man, Spider-Man dies, and the post-credit scene shows the Venom symbiote coming to Spider-Man's grave, bringing him back alive for Secret Wars, just like the comic book cover, and explains why he isn't in Doomsday. Interesting. I mean, I did have a factor fiction that said that the symbiote is going to come back in some way, shape, or form in Brand New Day. So that could be that would be, you know, comic precedent for bringing back to life. Yeah, there's some debate about that, but it would be it's an interesting idea. That's an interesting factor fiction for that one. I I like the creativeness. I don't think I'd be very surprised if they want to go that route. I don't think they want to kill Tom Holland necessarily in that way. But
That's where I stand on
yeah,
that is everything other than the killing Tom Holland and then saving the revival, quote unquote, for a post credit scene just doesn't seem like how they would want to handle that character. It's a great
it's
premise
yeah.
and I love it, but I just don't know if Sony would go that whole killing one of your biggest stars and
Even though
then
yes, you
post
bring
credit
back
scenes.
we get it, but I think it's too much. No offense to your show side, I think it's a gimmick that just I think it'll lead to an eye roll and a groan versus because again it screams a little bit like Infinity at the end of Infinity War with the snapping. It's like that we just got introduced to Peter Parker. We just got introduced to Black Panther. I was like I'm too much involved in this, even in general. It's like, did they really die? No, if you're thinking they really died, no, that's
Yeah.
I don't see it, but I really do like it. That'd be really interesting if they did try it though. So I do like the creativity on that one. It is a
Yeah.
crazy theory. You're not wrong.
It's a good theory. It's a good storyline. I just don't
Yeah.
think that it's what they would do for the big screen.
Yeah. All right, my last one. In Avengers Doomsday, the X-Men have successfully overcome a number of incursions already, but with heavy losses each time. And we see them in Doomsday, they're down to their bare minimum of the woods. I mean, that's why they look so run down and ragged. That's why the mansion looks decimated. That's why, it's like Magneto is saying what he's saying. Like where are we at? This is who we have left. The bear that we have suffered so many losses. We're down to us few.
I'm a go factual on that. I could see this being a rugged. We've been through some things. We've seen some things. Like we are coming here to tell you what's going to happen because we've lived through this shit already. Like it's decimated our team. It's decimated our numbers. We are not who we were because we didn't take this seriously.
Yeah. So, and I'm a fact as well. I think I think it would explain why they're looking so run down as they are. Yeah. So, but all right, I will post those on Sunday afternoon, so let your voices be heard with that. And as always, to close out our show, let's head into Comic Book Club. We are continuing looking at Age of Ultron. We are looking at issue number 2. So we kind of got introduced to the world itself. Saw some rescues of Spider-Man, Hawkeye leading the rescue. So now we kind of flash to San Francisco. And I always find it interesting when we get comic issues that start with like no words, nothing, just actions and just, it kind of sets the scene. And we get introduced to this cloaked woman going down and kind of searching around, and she gets ambushed by some rando stranger and asking for, whatever they have. And it reveals to be Natasha. Natasha definitely has gotten some face damage in that one from gotten into a scuffle that she has a very bad scar on her face.
Yeah, she's a little bit tore up, but she's still Natasha because she tells this guy with the gun like you're not serious. You're not a real man because if you were, you would have shot me already. You have no idea what you're doing with that gun,
Yeah.
and still intimidating, still Black Widow.
Yep, and she is basically quote unquote saved by a shot through the head, and it can't be Hawkeye because we're on the other coast. He's on the other coast, but she is up there, gives a signal in sign language saying, "I had it." He signs back saying, "Sure you did," and it is Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So she robs him. They're trying to get through the areas. Ultrons are killing civilians, and they end up meeting up at a bunker that supposedly is one of Nick Fury's off books black sites. And they're just kind of comparing notes, saying, "Well, are they ever going to find it?" Say, "Well, that's the thing about Nick Fury. Yeah, Ultron's in electronics. Nick Fury dealt in pencil paper. It would never find it. He could go dark, and no one would ever know."
Yeah. He said it. He never wrote it down, and if he didn't write it down, it doesn't exist.
Exactly. So then we flash back to Central Park. Spider-Man's just kind of talking about how he got captured. I like the kind of like where we see exactly the beginnings of the end for him, and he said basically got beat over the head. They were gonna trade me in for the Ultrons. It's like, really? That was their whole plan? It kind of mitigates exactly what Spider-Man had to deal with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I also like that Spider-Man was like, I woke up and the world was going to hell, and I thought that I just lost my shit. Like, as much bad stuff that happens to me, I figured eventually I'd have a psychotic break, and I thought this was it.
Yep. And they look at Cap, no plan or anything like that, still wallowing in the shadows. They're saying, "Oh, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? This is all we got left." And then all of a sudden, Cap gets up, says, "Yeah, because we didn't have a plan, that's why we lost. But until now." And so he gets up. We're gonna have a plan. I would say like this is. I was again. I've read this story before. This issue kind of was disappointing in the sense of I don't know if we needed another kind of setting up the world at that point. But hopefully the next issue kind of picks up.
Yeah. It I agree to your point. There's not much that happens here other than establishing that they mentioned Washington D.C. is gone off the face of the map.
Not surprising.
We saw the decimation in New York last issue. Now we're seeing what the West Coast Avengers presumably are dealing with in San Francisco. So you're getting the feel that okay, this is worldwide, but everyone seems to have just given up hope and reserved themselves to this is how it's going to be. I mean, Tony even says at one point where Peter says, "We've got to do something. What's next?" And Tony just says, "Yeah, we survive. That's all we can do."
And and shout out to my good friend Chuck on this. At that point, I don't know what he would have to say to Captain America. He's just sitting there wallowing in his own stuff. He's like, "Why are we listening to him?" I could see Chuck basically kind of like, "Why are we focusing on that one?" But shout out to you, Chuck.
Yeah.
But all right, so we will go back and look at issue number 3 at our next episode. So here we go. Marvel Alliance, volume 287 in the books, and stay tuned for post credits. We're gonna have a fun one. One thing that we did not see coming this week that I'm pretty confident that it definitely got me excited.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it got David excited too. So, but
Oh,
stay
yeah.
tuned for post credits for this one. But all right, so David, tell people how they can follow you. Plug your shows.
You can find me on all socials at The Phantom. You can find me here on the GeekVerse Network as part of our wrestling show, The Gimmick. We have a show coming up this Sunday that's going to be an Elimination Chamber review. We're gearing up because for those of us who have pre-ordered, which I know all of my co-hosts on The Gimmick have pre-ordered, we've got the next year's round of WWE 2K releasing it. Early release is March 6th. And just like last year when we waited through the issues of a pre-release and all the bugs, we're going to do it again to bring you some My GM mode. It's fun. Travis ended up pulling out a win at the end of it. And
Repeat.
so we're going to see if we can run it back one more time or if either me or S-Bubs ends up taking the crown with this next one. But this game is bigger, more intuitive, like longer season. So we're definitely going to be able to have some fun with this. So yeah, catch us this Sunday doing a review of Elimination Chamber, talking more about what's coming up with WWE 2K26. And then look for us in the future with more of my GM mode streams.
All right, well, definitely catch that. And yes, you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. Jake and I did release our final order cutoff for the April solicits this week for our final order cutoff review, our pre-order review, and we are going to record the May May pre-orders that we just kind of showcased here at the up top of the show on the Brave and the Boys channel this weekend, and so that will release in the following week, looking at all the May releases and our top picks for that. So check that out on the Brave and the Boys channel. You can follow this show on Twitter at Marvel 8 Podcast. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter, also at GUA Pod Network. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to tweet, email. If you want to provide feedback, DMs are open across the board. Let us know your opinions, your questions. Continue to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us live in the chat. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, post-credits discussion tonight. I know you usually set those up, but I kind of pulled an audible. I said, I've got an idea, and I think you'll be cool with it. We got a big surprise for a new game that's coming out, and it is entitled Marvel Maximum Collection with the X right there, taking the idea of the Avengers, but Maximum Collection. So for those of you watching on YouTube, we've got the trailer pulled up. For those of you not watching, well, we're just kind of, as always, we shut down the, at least for this trailer, it's not necessary outside of the great, like, old school, retro soundtrack at that point. So this is another collection of games, but very much focused on the X-Men and other big Marvel arcade classics coming from limited run games. So this is coming from Konami. We're queuing it up now, limited run. And we have a number of games. We've got the Marvel arcade game that's going to be in this, which is, oh my God, how many quarters did you sink into this as a kid? This is so good.
So not only as a kid, but there's a place around the corner from me called Arcade Alley where you pay $20 and you can play all the games you want, and they have this and some others there. And yeah, it is a good time had by all.
Yep. So, and also featuring 6-player online multiplayer. Look at all that Dazzler. You got Captain America and the Avengers. This was I think one of my main lines was actually Vision in this one. In this one, Snow Vision, or Iron Man was another go-to for me with this one. So I liked how this was kind of like a side scroller plus kind of Contra feel to it, as we kind of saw in the images.
Yeah. I remember playing as Hawkeye in this a while because I like the long range with the bow.
And I like it. Like, this is a little bit like kind of also a lot of different styles going on here with this one. Different console versions of this. 8-bit 16 classics we're going to see. So we got Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge. I will not mince words with this. I despise this game. I hate this game so much. This was terrible. If you love this game, good for you. This game, it was almost unplayable for me. So I will try it again, but I will probably, this will not be in my first playthrough for this one, just because I have nightmares about this game because it was
that is definitely a nostalgia bait for me. I remember the kid across the street ended up getting it, and we would go over there and try and play it, and it was absolutely horrendous. I don't remember ever getting past a single level. We would play for probably like
this up?
15 minutes at a time and then go, forget it, we're going back to Street Fighter because this sucks.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man, X-Men. I don't even care about Arcade Revenge. You got two, and oh gosh, oh man. But anyway, so we come to we fix it with this one, Spider-Man, Venom, Maximum Carnage. Oh my gosh, this was like the heyday of this, like Superman, Death and Return to Superman. Like, I went back and forth on these games. This was such a cool game, and the soundtrack amazing. And then we got the follow up to it, Separation Anxiety, Spider-Man and Venom at the same. Oh goodness gracious, this is gonna be fun. Silver Surfer, I never did play this game. I mean, I'll be completely honest. So this will be a first time for me.
I remember getting this from Blockbuster and attempting to play it, and then my brother took it over, and I never got to play it, and then it was time to return it back, and we never went back and picked it up again.
Yeah, so you get a lot of the museum. These are great with these collections. I love the museum. Look at the ads, all the different stores, stuff like that. I love that they include this with this. Um, but yeah, so no release date yet. Limited run games. Their big thing is like putting out collected editions, but like through their site, it's not something that not always do they put it wide release. I'd be very surprised if this is just through their site, but if it is, I'm a day one buy. I'm pre-ordering this. It's not even a question. I already know what I'm getting for it. I'm getting it for my Switch 2, not nothing else. I need that game portable. I need it to be with me.
Yeah, and I thought about it when I first saw it. I was like, oh man, I have so many coupons and codes and stuff like that for Xbox, but man, just having that on my Switch 2, walking around with it, having it on that screen just will bring back all that nostalgia. And yeah, I need it portable. I need it to just grab and go and take on some of these levels.
Yeah. So it says that featuring 13 common consoles games. So the games they featured there are basically the main games. I think there are about 6 games that are featured on here. But if you saw within the trailer, a lot of them went from the arcade look at slash console to like a Game Boy version or to a more of a 16-bit version at that point. So you're getting 13 games, but I think from what I'm gathering from this, it's also going to be kind of other console versions of that same game.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so no release date officially yet for it, but we'll keep an eye on it. And I know David and I will be, and some of our others in the chat in Geek Ultimate Alliance Network and GeekVerse are going to be picking that up day one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it's great that they're putting these out there because there's a lot of love for this, despite the arcade's revenge. That's just terrible. That's nightmare fuel. So anyways, we will see you next time on Marvel Alliance. Again, have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and we will be talking to you later.
See ya.